lost in the rabbit hole. Connect every emotion, experience, adventure, struggle, pain, and achievement. Know the past, feel the future, and live this moment with Nisha Haraale. Every Sunday on Niche Radio.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to our 14th episode of Let's Get Lost in the Rabbit Hole with me, Nisha Haraale, on Niche Radio. And in conversation with me today is the super talented music artist Ashwin, aka Chor. Hi, Ashwin, aka Chor. Are you all set to get lost in the rabbit hole?
Hi, Nisha. Yeah, I'm totally all set. Let's dive right in.
Why the name Chor?
I'm a guy who really doesn't like to work. So, the pun in Hindi being Chor, guy who doesn't like to work. That's why I kept the name. And the pun is sweet with CALM, so I enjoy that bit of it. But yeah, essentially, I like doing music, and it's not like work for me. So, I don't think I'm working when I'm working. That's why.
Growing up, we always had different plans. What were your plans? Did you always wanted to be a music artist?
Yes, my plans were very different. When I was growing up, both my parents have separate businesses. My dad's into carpets. My mom had a biotech company at the time. And I expected to be working with them and looking after that. But music happened in my life. And, slowly I took a turn towards music. And after college, I just couldn't bear to do anything else. So it was like a really strong calling. And I had to. So I decided to get into music in whatever way that I can. Since then, I've just been doing that.
You are a music producer and a DJ. What, according to you, makes a good DJ?
Well, I think a good DJ has an ability to read the room and adapt, which means that you don't always come prepared with your 10 tracks or your 15 tracks that you're going to play. You have a much wider collection and you can adapt to the room so that you can actually read the floor, play a few different kinds of tracks and see what people respond to, and then accordingly, go in that direction where you kind of tap the maximum number of people. You get as many people engaged as possible. So I think a good DJ is only as good as his dance floor. And the better you are at making more people dance. Obviously to the way that you would like them to dance, which means you kind of read them, but then you interpret it into your way and still kind of present them what you want them to hear, but more along the lines of what they would like.
What, according to you, makes a good music producer?
I think that a good music producer is someone who can kind of literally produce anything, make any kind of music. But an artist is someone who has a strong, unique vision. So if you mean as an artist, a good artist is someone who has a strong, clear vision of the music that he wants to present. And it's consistent in terms of style, which means that you can identify the artist just by listening to the music. So then it would be that I think that the artist has succeeded in creating his own unique niche and their own unique style, which goes above labeling, so you can tell that Electric Nose is Electric Nose. When you hear the first 10 seconds of it, it's his track. So a good artist is someone like that. And a good producer is someone who can make anything. Like if tomorrow you came and told me to make like gypsy, flamenco, bhangra, I should be able to give you something that represents that. So then I would be a good music producer.
Let's go go back in time. Share with us your experience when you played for the first time.
So, I my first job, actual paying job, was in Kazakhstan. I went as a DJ for a five-star hotel. The name of the club was Tequila Sunrise, and my actual first full-time DJ experience was my first day on the job in Almaty. Before that, I had never played for more than 15, 20 minutes or just a couple of songs, jumped in with some friends who were playing. But the first time I ever played like 5, 6 hours non-stop was at my first job. And it was a bit tough, and I was nervous as hell because the equipment wasn't very professional, and I didn't have much idea about the music that I was supposed to play. I was a psytrance head, and I ended up in this commercial club. So I had to really struggle in my first week also to, understand the crowd, the people, the taste that they have, and the music itself, to be more familiar with it. So it was really nerve-wracking my first week, but somehow I managed, I think, just because I enjoy making people dance. So I used whatever I could, and over there was a lot of Turkish pop and Russian pop, also the US and UK stuff, which everybody likes. So I had to make a mishmash and a blend of that, and it was tough, for the first week, but I kind of settled into a groove. Yeah, so my first experience was really nerve-wracking, and I don't think I've ever been more scared in my life than I was then, but I got through it.
How was it feeling when you first released your first track ever?
It was really something to have something out on Beatport and to see my name up there with, everybody else. It was really I felt like, okay, I'm well on my way now, and really, really, victorious. Yeah, it was really, really something, and it's addictive to make music and watch people dance to the music that you have made when you're playing it yourself. There's no better feeling in the world for me, I think.
You have been in the industry for many years. How has your journey been so far?
When we started, there was no industry as such. DJs were just glorified jukeboxes, and the only avenues for us were like restaurants and clubs where people expected a certain kind of music which they were familiar with, and at the most some pop music from here and there, but there was a lot of local Hindi music, and lots of international pop, and there was no room for house, techno, psytrance, or any of these alternative things. There was drum and bass in Delhi, but there was no room for any of that, and that was the industry that we came up in. So going from then till now, where now I get to play all my own music or exactly what I feel like playing, the industry has really grown since I have been working there, and I think it's getting better and better for everyone now. There's all kinds of genres, and all kinds of styles are coming up, and kids today listen to a lot more different music than they did before, with the because everyone's very internet savvy and all that. So I think the industry's come a long way in terms of style and taste, and I think we have yet to grow a lot, because as of now it's still only in the metros and a few of the B cities, but we're growing day by day. And dance music especially, since we are more or less language free, I foresee that the growth of dance music in India and electronic music is going to be much bigger as it spreads slowly. So I'm very optimistic, and I think it's come a long way, but it's going to go even further now.
You come from Banaras and you moved to Mumbai. How has that transition been for you?
Yes, I do come from Banaras, and I did move to Mumbai. Well, actually, I was in boarding school in Nainital, a place called Sherwood. And after I did my 10th, I came to Xavier's for my junior college. And it was a huge culture shock. I mean, I was such a small town kid, and to come to, Mumbai and to experience Xavier's and just city life was pretty overwhelming for the first year. I think I really lost myself experiencing Mumbai and going out, going to these afternoon socials first, and then going out clubbing at night. And really, it was a whole new world for me to come and experience Bombay and see all of that. Was totally educational, and it actually, I think, allowed me to see music as a creative expression, as an output, as a career finally, and allowed me to make that choice that yes, I think I will be able to do this and I will be able to survive with music. So I think it played a huge part in my career development and in my development as a DJ, as a musician, as a composer, as everything. So yeah, I think it was really good in many ways.
Change do you wish to see in the music industry?
I don't really know. I think that some kind of regularization where all of us are slightly more cooperative in terms of unionizing, maybe if that's the right word, so that everyone gets paid their dues, gets paid on time. I think something as simple as that would make a huge difference to a lot of people who work in this industry, because even in terms of when you produce for, say, ads and television and stuff, a lot of the times your payments take a long time. When you're DJing, that's exactly the same story. So I think if things like this could be sorted out, it would make a huge difference to a lot of people. But otherwise, on its own, I think from actually being a non-existent industry to coming as far as it has, I think we've done pretty well. And the only thing left is to actually get it some proper recognition from the government and, get some kind of support on that front.
At an underground event, when you played, did anyone come and ask you for a request?
That happens all the time. In fact, I think it still happens every now and then. There's always one person who's not happy and who's who wants to hear something else and has just come with some friends and not realized what kind of music it's going to be. So there's always somebody who's unhappy, and it still happens all the time. So yes, India is still, I think, far from the educated crowd as far as listeners go.
What does music mean to you?
Well, frankly, music for me is like everything. I go to sleep listening to music, I wake up listening to music, and I spend my day with music. So for me, it's everything. It's a very big part of my life, and I don't think I would be able to do anything without that. And it's always been this way since I was a child, and now I think I'm even more obsessed. So it is my everything.
Do you prepare your set for a gig?
Depending on how big the gig is, I do a certain amount of preparation, but that involves listening to new music and selecting some newer tracks that that I've freshly bought or someone has just sent me or whatever. So listen to my new music and decide some of the new tracks that I want to play. But I think that's about as far as I go. When I get to a set, I kind of try to sense the vibe, and while I'm there at the venue listening to the DJ before me, I just try to set my first track, or I try to think what my first track will be. And after that, I just kind of let it flow according to what I feel like. So wherever that track leads me, I go there. But I don't think too much on it apart from the first track at the venue itself. And before that, I trust my own homework and I trust my ears on whatever I have heard. And yeah, most of the time it's pretty free-flowing.
What's coming up in the future?
me and Ash, who are partners in Superb, we also have a band together called Bit of Both. So we are working on a second album. I'm working on obviously more Chor stuff, and we are planning some bigger things for the label itself, some exclusive label events, and just kind of trying to expand to cities that we haven't played in. So I think in the future we want to really spread more of our music as many places as possible. That's about it.
Did you ever goof up at an event, and how did you handle that?
I have goofed up at many events many times, but I think the trick is to kind of use your goof up as part of your show, and if you cannot allow other people to realize that you have goofed up, then it's great. But if it does happen, and God forbid something like, say, my computer conks off or the sound goes off or something, well, things like that which are out of my control, then I try not to let it upset me too much. Though it makes you feel like shit. But if you can get away with it by just, covering up as smoothly and as quickly as possible, that is the best option. But in case you can't do that, you just start again and, smoothly try to take off where you left off, and just let it go.
Where can one find your music?
Well, we're a digital label, and as far as I go, I've only released digitally till now. So you can find my music pretty much on all digital platforms, especially on my SoundCloud or, on YouTube, or for all the people who like to listen or just stream it. So everywhere, on all digital platforms.
Thank you, Chor, for taking us through your journey. Here's wishing you all the very best.
Thank you, Nisha, for having me, and I really appreciate what you're doing, and I really appreciate you pushing the music and, all of us, and great job on that, and thanks for having me. Happy to be of assistance.
And thank you to all our listeners for tuning in today. Also, do catch me again next Sunday, 10 a.m. Until then, have a super Sunday, super week, and enjoy this next set coming up from Chor.